Welcome to the second episode of Expert Solutions from FinGig.Pro. My name is Aalok Bhan and I am the co-founder and chief marketing officer at FinGig.Pro. Today's topic is one of my favorites and also a cornerstone for any successful business: consumer insights. Our topic is how to leverage consumer insights to deliver to business results. Joining me to discuss this fascinating subject is an even more fascinating person I'm proud to introduce, Ms. Parvati Mahadev. Parvati is a gold medalist MBA, whoops, and a seasoned insight professional with over 30 years of eclectic experience in driving business insights in various sectors. Her passion is centered around culling insights with a fresh perspective that allows her to come up with innovative solutions that help provide a competitive edge to her clients. She is a consulting partner at Brandscapes Worldwide and oversees its research and insights practice, catering to both global and niche clients. Brandscapes is a mid sized global consultancy firm and provides services across data analytics, advanced modeling, market research, and insights mining to Fortune 500 companies. Her own experience in the financial services sector has been significant, and she has advised clients who play in retail banking, credit cards, insurance, NBFC, and the likes, and fintech. Thank you, Parvati, for being a part of this mini podcast series. I'll ask you a couple of questions, not more, and together we'll try and create an engaging short video series to share across our platforms. So, if you're ready, without further ado, shall we get started, Parvati?
Thanks, Aalok, for the lovely introduction. Thanks, FinGig.Pro, for giving both me and Brandscapes a chance to talk about what we do. And yes, I'm eagerly looking forward to the questions you and hope I field it well.
All right, certainly. Thank you. Let me start by asking you the first question, which is around that consumer insight generation allows a lot of data, and this is the generation of data. The question that is relevant is that what do you do with the data? And therefore, till the time the data can't mean anything, which is what I call as insights, it has no sense. So my question is, the process of generating insights, is it as sophisticated for the financial services sector in this era? What are your views on this?
It's a very good question, Alok. It's a question that I have seen evolving in the financial services sector. And one of the first things that you said, which was perhaps a slight slip, is you started by saying customer and then you said consumer. And that's one of the key reasons why the financial services sector, I believe, has not reached the level of sophistication of maybe the fast moving consumer goods sector, which is at the pinnacle of that. The very reason for this, let's say, holding back from the financial services sector is actually they sit on vast amounts of customer data. That, in a way, spoils them and constrains them. They have so much data, they feel they're very data rich. Then they have huge business intelligence teams which are crunching, munching, digesting this data and flinging all packets of so called insights to the marketing, to the branding, the product, whatever businesses, right? What happens in the FMCG sector? They're blindsided. They don't have any idea who's buying their products at an individual level. They know generically people. So they are constantly sharpening the kind of tools they need to use to unlock the insights and get down to saying, how do I talk to these consumers who are also my customers, but I don't know much about them? Yeah. Now, because of that, what I've noted, in addition to that, what I've noticed is that there are various products and services in the financial services sector. It's like a portmanteau of various things. Look at one side, which is say credit cards. Now, credit cards has evolved in a way that it's almost positioning itself as a FMCG product. It's packaged well, it's got lots of features and benefits which are differentiated and then sold to customers. Now, there, the degree of sophistication in general is more. But there too, in a highly penetrated market, the focus is more on saying, how do I make myself unique, premiumize, etc. But in a developing market where penetration is low, it's about breaking barriers to get people on board. And therefore, the sophistication changes. Let's take banking. In every market, it's regulated. There's no getting away from it. In every market, banks are sitting on customer data. These are two realities, doesn't matter which market you're in. So there what's happening is banks are simply inward looking by and large. They look inwards to say, how can I deepen relationships? How can I cross sell? And through that, retain my customers or become the bank of first choice, wherever there are many banks that a person is, part of. So there's a very different degree of focus and sophistication. You come to the other end, the more new age fintech spaces, right, which are all app based, journey based, digital bank based. There, the focus, interestingly, is on how to get people from the traditional platforms to the digital. And the whole thing is, how do I make the UI, UX so wonderful that people just seamlessly get onto my platform and do the same thing. They still buy and sell insurance, they're still getting into fixed deposits, they're still with a few additions. But by and large, the same products and services, but now on a technical platform. So, if I may sum up the whole thing, sophistication is varying depending on the sector, depending upon the market. There are different degrees.
Lovely. Thank you, Parvati. But I am, because this topic is of interest to me, I'm prompted to ask a few more questions here. But there's this producer who's told me that stick to the script, so I'm going to come back to the script itself. So now on to the next question. Could you also share us some examples of how Brandscapes has provided sharp consumer insights in the financial services sector, and how have these insights benefited your clients in this space? Thank you.
Interesting. So, what I'll do is, while I've talked that there's a wide array of sectors within the larger sector of financial services, I'd like to take examples from conventional banking, retail banking. This is a giant private bank, okay? Obviously, sitting on millions of customer data, obviously having great business intelligence tools and people, fantastic propensity models which are constantly allowing them to churn the data, customer transactions, and shoot out cross-selling messages, yeah, by the whether emails or SMSs, or even activating the RMs in case of slightly better quality customers to say, when Alok walks in, make sure you sell a health insurance product to him because it looks like he's ripe and ready. Yeah. Now the bank was sitting on this pretty
Because I don't
comfortable.
look healthy. Is that the insight?
You look bursting with health,
Right.
Alok. So that's not the point. Three things happened which caused Brandscapes to be invited to do something interesting. One was the addition of a new CMO. And the CMO came from a telecom bank, which means that he was in a sector which was super active, super competitive, and one needed to continuously think of how to stay ahead in the game. The second thing that happened was when the CMO came in, he realized that the bank was sitting on a very interesting treasure. And that treasure was that a year ago, the bank had actually commissioned a qualitative research which revealed that in the larger retail banking space, there were 17 different personas. And these personas were less to do with cohort and life stage, which is what most banks thought about, but more to do with life values, expectations, risk appetite, ambitions, and all of that, right? Now, this database was there. So that was the second thing, which was the winds of change. The third was the fact that the bank had just acquired a digital marketing tool which allowed them to send very curated messaging to various kinds of customers. So it was not if 16 customers were identified as ready for a auto loan, all of them got the same message.
Sure.
If you knew who the receiver was, you could actually curate the message, which was wonderful. However, how to bring all of this together? So we were invited, we pitched, we won that pitch, where we were tasked with the fact of saying, how can you tag each of the customers in our database to a certain persona? Once we do that, and if all the million plus 5 million plus customers are tagged to a persona, then our propensity model, when it's shooting out those messages for cross-sell, will actually pick up a curated message, which the marketing team would have already built
Very,
and send that up.
very
Yeah, so the ambition was a lift in the propensity because the belief was it could do better. Yeah. So we worked very interestingly on something. First, we whittled down 17 because 17 was too much to handle for anybody. We whittled it down to say 6 or 7 strategic target personas. Then we went out and did a survey, a quantitative survey, only to identify two things. What was the presence of each of these personas in the universe? And two, certain transaction behaviors that each of these personas were displaying when it came to banking. Yeah. Now, once we got this information, what we did was we handed over the data by creating behavioral bridges to the business intelligence team. So we said, anytime you see this transaction pattern in your data, assume that it translates back to this kind of persona and tag that persona, whatever, label or code to the person. Obviously, it's an imperfect science. We cannot say that it was perfect because there are some levels of prediction going. But we were willing to live with imperfection because it was still better than what was happening.
true.
And then what the team did, the marketing team, it created very curated sell messages for the product into the person. So there were multiple messages. Say the bank was offering 10 products and there were 7 personas. You can imagine that there were 70 different messages, bite-sized messages. And then the propensity model started delivering these messages. And I believe the bank got a lift in 3 of those personas, which was significant. Not all. Not all. It did not work with all because maybe the prediction was not so. But that was an amazing experience, both for us and the bank, the business intelligence team. So that is one example.
Wow. Well, I'd love to continue this conversation, but we have some limitations. So I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
the final question of the day. What should the financial services sector focus on going forward to ensure it remains future ready in this ever changing landscape? And also, how can we, as in FinGig.Pro and Brandscapes together when they come together, how can we help them in doing that? Your views, please.
Yeah. So, Alok, I feel that whatever the financial services sector has done till now needs to continue to be. There's no gainsaying that, yeah, because it is a place where you're talking about people's money and you have to be safe. You cannot play with risks. So, what I'm talking about is the 5 Ps, which you have to keep in mind. One is trust. You have to build customer trust. Two is you have to be thoughtful towards the customer. You cannot just be pushing things down or insisting on regulation and therefore saying that they have to do it. Three is the terms and conditions. You have to demystify. 6 pages of terms and conditions. Either people click or they get scared and go, depending on their appetite towards the product. 4 is timeliness. You need to be timely in whatever you deliver to the customer. A lot of the times, the kind of complaints you see in even the social media is that they took forever, they didn't come back accurately, etc. The last is technology. You all are using technology back end, but try to bring it in the front end to make it more interactive with the customer.
Very nice.
Other than that, what I would advise to your second question, that how should FinGig.Pro and the experts that they have onboarded look at things when they get placed in the financial services space to bring about a different mindset in that particular organization, is 3 things they should keep in mind. One is that they should start saying, we are not going to ask customers to come to us. How can we go to customers? Now, this can happen through multiple ways, the most obvious being technology and app based, but in multiple ways, how do we go to the customer? The other thing is, stop worrying about yourself. Stop worrying only about what is the risk attached to onboarding this customer, cross-selling to this customer, deepening relationship. Instead, say, what are the risks the customer is undertaking, whether it's in their business, in their personal life, and try to own that risk and be a little bit more thoughtful. So it comes back to the thoughtfulness. So not only we-centric, but you-centric. And the last but not least is not what can I do for you, that is how can I help you, but how can we together help? So that togetherness rather than a top-down approach. It's a very slight difference in orientation, but very critical to be able to be meaningful to customers.
My God, that keeps mind so open. That was fantastic, Parvati. In fact, the terms and conditions part that you mentioned, I tried when I was in my corporate career at life insurance. I asked my product guys to try and make a product which starts by saying terms and conditions do not apply. But it was a wish. Uh, there's so much to learn from you, Parvati. And we will close the podcast now. And I'm sure we'll have more discussions in the future, especially on these topics going forward. Thank you again, Parvati, for being a part of this session. To our audience, thank you for tuning in. We value your feedback and please share your thoughts with us. Stay tuned for our next episode and see you again soon. Bye bye, Parvati.
Thank you, Alok. Good meeting you. Thank you, FinGig.Pro, for giving me this opportunity. Bye.
Bye bye.